Are you looking for the best reciprocating saws? In this video we will look at some of the 5 best reciprocating saws on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description. So make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. Porter Cable 20V MAX Reciprocating Saw. When you've got a job that requires a reciprocating saw, you won't find another tool that can do what it does. However, for the average person, the need for a reciprocating saw doesn't often arise, and $300 plus for a tool you use once or twice a year might feel excessive. Fortunately, the affordable Porter Cable 20V MAX Variable Speed Reciprocating Saw has everything the occasional use homeowner needs in a saw, and it is our budget-friendly pick of the litter. This Porter Cable 20V MAX is light and portable, comfortable in 2 hands, but easily wieldable with 1. It is a bit slower in cutting than some of the higher-end saws, but it cuts smoothly and cleanly with a tighter turning radius than most of the other saws we tested. It has no bells and whistles, but on a tool built primarily for demolition, bells and whistles aren't often needed. Perhaps most impressive was its battery life. We tested with a 4Ah battery, and as far as cuts per Ah go, the Porter Cable was actually the top performer, and came in second overall in terms of cuts completed. With a combination of price, performance, and battery capacity, this little saw is a solid choice for the budget-conscious, occasional-use homeowner. Long battery life. Affordable. Lightweight. Number 2. Milwaukee M18 Sawzall 2621-20. The younger brother of our ultimate winner, the regular Milwaukee M18 Sawzall is an impressive tool in and of itself. Though it was slower than our top performers, it still breezed through all of our tests without a stutter. Like the Fuel, the Milwaukee M18 made it through our plywood obstacle course in half the time of the next fastest saw. This is another saw that would make a fine addition to anyone's toolbox. That said, given that it's not that much cheaper than the Fuel once the battery, charger, and case are factored in, the lack of additional features like a light, extendable shoe, hanging hook, and the fact that it doesn't have a brushless motor are a real detriment to this saw. This saw also seemed to have several noticeable drops in power as the battery began to diminish. Add this and the lack of features to the somewhat reduced performance, and it doesn't seem like a great buy. It'll do the job, but others will do it better. Powerful speed. Affordable. Number 3. DEWALT Reciprocating Saw. This DEWALT is a good middle-of-the-pack option. The grip on the saw is decent, but there's hardly any shock absorption when cutting. The saw had a middling turning radius during our plywood test, and it consistently performed near the bottom of the rankings during our time tests. It definitely cuts, but it just doesn't cut particularly well. There's some weirdness going on with the depth guard. It's not adjustable, but there's more to the story here. It's actually a steel piece attached to the end of the rubberized grip on the saw. It looks like DEWALT designed a reciprocating saw, but forgot to include a depth guard, so it cobbled one together from extra parts. The front grip is comfortable, but it narrows considerably near the nose of the saw if you don't count that extra depth guard. The blade changing lever is made of plastic, so I question its long-term durability. It's an okay saw. If anything, it's pretty inexpensive. Comfortable grip. Affordable. Number 4. Black & Decker BDCR 20B Reciprocating Saw. Not only is the Black & Decker BDCR 20B one of the lightest saws of the bunch, but it's also one of the most maneuverable. It performed well during the plywood obstacle course, as it had a tight turning radius. However, it made some of the fewest cuts during our endurance testing. It also vibrated pretty heavily throughout the testing, making it uncomfortable to wield for an extended period of time. That said, it's not a bad saw. If you're looking for a lightweight saw, then this is a decent option. Unlike the other battery-powered saws, which all had a base unit that the battery slid into to charge, the Black & Decker charger is a small plastic piece that slides into the battery to charge it. It's one of the least expensive saws we tested, too. Great maneuverability. Lightweight. Affordable. Number 5. DEWALT Atomic 20V MAX Reciprocating Saw. My table saw is a DEWALT. My favorite clamps are DEWALT. Most of the tools I used as a conveyor mechanic were DEWALT. I've been a fan of DEWALT tools for a long time, and I was excited to get my hands on the brand's one-handed reciprocating saw. Unfortunately, I was immediately disappointed. This saw simply didn't have the power to make it through our tests. It took forever to cut through anything even remotely strenuous, to the point that I almost gave up on the testing a few times. It took twice as long as the next slowest saw to make it through our nail-embedded wood and metal tests, and that was with me using my second hand. The only positive comment that I have is that it didn't vibrate that much. As I've said already, don't buy a one-handed reciprocating saw unless you know you need one. And if you do need one, then get the Cobalt.